Welcome everybody to the Project 31 YouTube channel. We're excited to be with you guys, and this is a new endeavor for us, and we can't wait to let you guys come on this road with us. But today we just thought we would start with talking to you about just the history of Project 31 and how we got started and why we do what we do. So obviously this is Jane Wilson, I'm Sarah McLean, and we both are breast cancer survivors. I was actually diagnosed the first time when I was 26 years old, and again 8 years later when I was 34. And when I was first diagnosed, I just realized there was a lot of emotional turmoil that came with this journey that was unexpected, and I really struggled with depression and despair, and didn't really know how to work through it. Thankfully, my husband and I, we were recommended to go to a psychologist who was a survivor, and through our time with her, she really just helped us to have some tools to be able to learn how to communicate and how to process our emotion. And it was so helpful that I really had a desire at that point to want to offer some kind of support or resources to other survivors and their families, because I knew that we couldn't be the only people out there struggling, but there was nobody talking about it at the time. Well, I worked at a church at the time, and I had gotten a letter in the mail one day with a book, and it was a book called A Jar for My Tears. And I started reading it and read the letter, and it was from another breast cancer survivor, Jane, and she was on this quest to provide resources as well. So you want to tell a bit of your story first?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed when I was 40, and there'd been no history of breast cancer in my family or anything like that, so it was just really out of nowhere. And for me, for the first time ever, I went to counseling and did some things like that I had never considered before. Like Sarah said, the depression and the anxiety, for me it was the anxiety, was just overwhelming. And also for me, it was a real faith journey. It was very much a shock to my, Christian Sunday school attending brain that something this horrible would happen to me. Why I thought that, I don't know, but it came out of left field. And so for me, breast cancer diagnosis caused me to really deep dive into what Scripture said about me, what God said about me. I needed an anchor to hold on to something that was true, because I was being bombarded with all of this noise about cancer, and it was so frustrating for me. So that's why I wrote the book and sent it to you, and you reached out, and I think we went and met for lunch one day.
So I had already at that point been trying my own efforts to send out letters across the state, and really I wanted to provide scholarships for survivors and their families to go to counseling, because like I said, it would have been so beneficial for Steve and I. And so it was really slow. I was working full time, had 2 little kids, and then it was hard for me to connect with imaging centers and oncology offices because of HIPAA. And so I needed to bridge the gap and create some kind of way to connect with them. And so I started creating little care packages. And basically I would just offer that to the imaging center and just say, hey, if you have a newly diagnosed patient that really needs a friend, then give them this bag and then get their name and get a release from them, and then they would give me their information, and at that point I could reach out to them. So it was very slow, really organic. Honestly, didn't really know exactly where I was going to go with it until I got the letter from Jane. And God's so gracious, because I don't think either one of us would have done it on our own, but we knew that together we could do something great, I think. So we went and had lunch, and we both had just like-minded passions, values, and we wanted to move in the same direction. Well, at the same time, we had gotten a phone call from a local imaging center. Thankfully, they were intuitive enough to know that a peer support group would be more successful than them trying to lead it as a medical professional, like a social worker or nurse navigator. And so they approached us and just said, would you guys consider leading a peer support group? And honestly, we both were like,
No.
Heck no. No, we don't want to do that. Because I think, like a lot of people, we had stereotyped a support group to be more of a toxic environment, a place where people just really want to stay in their despair, and they don't really want to overcome or be empowered to live a life beyond cancer. And so together we prayed about it, and we just knew that God was saying, yes, this is the direction that I want you to go in. And so we stepped out in faith and we said yes, and it was 2011 in May, and we showed up that first night, and there was like 20 plus people there.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoa.
The room was full.
Yeah. And at that point, we were like, there really is a need here. There are people out there like us that want to talk about this, that they need the communication, they need the camaraderie, they need the support and understanding of other survivors who've been there. And so at that point, we just started meeting once a month, and it was really awesome. We set the tone from the beginning that we wanted this to be a hope-filled environment. We wanted you to come to be embraced. We wanted to equip you with some tools. So we would have different speakers come, because we knew that we wouldn't have all the answers. No. We still don't have the answers. I don't
even
think
10 years
does.
later.
Yeah. But we did know that we could bring plastic surgeons, breast surgeons, therapists, acupuncturists, and just help people understand what is available to them. And then at that point, you start to feel empowered, because you have friends, you have an understanding, you have a community. And so it was really great. And then fast forward to 2015.
Something like that. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, we did that for several years. Just that one
just
location.
The one little group. Yeah.
Just learning how to lead a group like that.
And really creating our model.
Right.
Of what do we want Project 31 to look like, and what does a community group look like for us?
And I know even like we didn't have, Sarah and I were doing all of it. We were doing it, not that was a ton, but it was just the two of us. And we developed a leader's guide, and we saw potential for this, that this could grow. And God was just so faithful to just help us create some tools to put those in place and say, when we grow, this is how we want to grow. This is how we want our leaders to lead. And this is how we want to love this community. And so we started bringing on everybody was volunteer, of course, but because we didn't have any money to pay anybody with.
Yeah.
But we started bringing on some volunteer leaders, and then you were able to start doing this full time.
Excuse me. In 2015, after I had gone through my second diagnosis, I really felt like a release from my old job, and the Lord giving me an opportunity to step into this full time and really start to build the organization, because our vision is really to have a nationwide presence for people all across the United States to have access to Project 31 and the community and the resources that we're able to offer. I think what makes us different definitely is that we are faith-based, for sure. And we also are really passionate about the family. We understand that this just does not impact only us, but our husbands and our children as well. And so we wanted to really have restoration for the whole family. And so then at that point, we also started having opportunities to go into other hospitals here locally. We live in Oklahoma City, and so we were connected to several different hospitals here locally. And thankfully, like she said, we were noticing different women in the groups that had like-minded passion, that once they had gone through their own journey, they wanted to give back, and they wanted to walk alongside these other women. And so we started asking them, hey, would you want to come on a leadership team with us? And thankfully they said yes. And so over time now we have 20 on our team. And prior to COVID, we were in 10 different hospitals in 4 different cities. And so it was really awesome just to see the trajectory that we've been on and the growth that we've seen, I think, through just consistency and being faithful. And the Lord has been so good to us. But then obviously COVID happened. And so we were like, oh my goodness, there's a kink in the plan here, because as you guys know, people are still being diagnosed and people are still treating. And it was so hard because now they're more alone than ever, because they don't have anybody going with them to treatment. They're going to surgeries by themselves and they're not meeting anybody. And so we decided that we were going to go online, and thankfully we had built up a good sized community. And we started advertising that we would be doing Zoom meetings. We went twice a month throughout the year of 2020. And thankfully we exceeded our attendance that we had done in the past. So at that point we knew, okay, this is another level of growth for us. And it's been really beautiful just to see different people from different states logging in now, and
Or their
giving them,
mom or their
yeah,
aunt
or their
sister.
grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so they want to be able to be a part of it. They might live in a different city, but they still want to have access to the community and be learning as well. There's one grandma that we love her in Georgia that she was like, I just want to be on here for my granddaughter. So it's been really neat just to see the growth.
And husbands can watch without having to attend. You know, it's been
They
good.
can hear
They
the
can
conversation, because a lot of times it's hard for us, as you guys know, to be able to convey what's going on inside and have them understand it. And sometimes I think they might think we're a little crazy, or like it's only us. But then when they hear, oh my goodness, this is a real thing, and these other women are talking about grief and depression and self-image and, you know, intimacy issues, like it's real. And so it just brings validation and understanding, which I think brings healing. Yeah. And so our latest project that we've been working on is called Staring Cancer in the Faith. And it's a resource that we've developed that I think primarily will be used in churches, like women's ministries. And so we've been doing that in a local church here. And then we have online, our first Tuesday of the month. You guys can jump on if you'd like to join us and participate in Staring Cancer in the Faith. But we are so excited just to see the growth and continued community that we're building. And this is another way that we're going to be able to have a conversation with you guys. So I hope that you'll join us for this. We're going to have different topics. Just random stuff, I think.
Yeah, we're just giving this a try. I think it's going to be fun. There's not a lot of breast cancer support opportunities out on the web, and so in a video format like this. So we hope you'll learn something. We hope you'll be encouraged. If you like what we're doing, be sure and click the thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to attend one of our support groups, just reach out to us at project31.com. And we'll put you on the list. You'll get an email notification about the support groups as they're available. And we would love to have you join us on a support group at one of the Zoom groups if you're not local. Obviously, if you live in the Oklahoma City area, you're welcome to join us in person. We have several locations locally, and we hope to be in a city near you soon.
That's right.
God's big God, and we have big dreams. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.